What is going on, YouTube? In today's video I want to talk about how you can get a cheap exhaust setup for your Camaro or Corvette that specifically came with the LS3 engine. And these are going to be similar for the most part. That's why I'm going to throw both in. And I had a 2013 Camaro SS 1LE, and I just want to help y'all be able to get the exhaust set up for cheap like I personally did, because I know that kind of seems overwhelming getting an exhaust, especially with how expensive some of these exhaust kits and some of these headers are, or catback exhaust and headers. It all gets expensive, and there's so much to these cars that you don't have to do. But before I do get right into that, I just want to say thank everyone for 400 subscribers. That's 4 times the amount I had a year ago, so that's pretty awesome. Appreciate everyone for supporting my channel. One day we're going to be monetized. One day I'll get paid to build the cars that I love. So that being said, let's talk about how you can get your cheap exhaust set up. So the first thing you're going to want to do is start with your headers, specifically long tube headers. LS3s love long tube headers, and you don't have to go pay $1,000 for a set of headers to get 30 wheel horsepower gain. What I did on my Camaro is I went with the Speed Engineering long tube headers, and those good quality, good fitment, and I never had any issues on those. And I ran them for 4 months, tested them pretty good, ran them hard for the 4 months I had them, never had one issue. Another thing I did with those, I put the header wrap around them, and I never had any problems. So the Speed Engineering 1 7/8 long tubes are $3.99 on their website, and they give you over 30 wheel horsepower gains for $3.99 plus tax. If you do decide to go with the ones that I got specifically, just make sure you get the GM multi-layer head manifold gaskets. That'll save you from having any leaks. I never had any problems. That's the ones I went with. Don't use the stock ones, they suck. That's that, and that's just a cheap way as your headers. You don't have to use the Speed Engineering specifically, but just know that you don't have to spend $1,000 to get some quality headers. You can go with a lot of the cheaper brands and they'll be just fine. So save your money on headers. Don't go crazy buying the Cooks or the American Racing unless you're going for a high horsepower build. You don't need that if you're keeping the car NA and you just want to get the most power out of it NA and have some fun on the street. So next thing you can do, go ahead, figure out if you want to go with an X pipe or H pipe, and get your exhaust routed all the way back. That shouldn't cost you too much, because you can probably reuse a lot of the factory exhaust. It's just depending on whether or not you want to use an X pipe or H pipe. If you only want to keep it an H pipe exhaust, then you can have a shop route up the exhaust and it probably won't cost much. If you want an X pipe, you can have the X pipe placed and have the exhaust routed back to the mufflers. Again, probably a lot of your stock exhaust can be reused, so that shouldn't cost too much. On my car personally, my car came with the H pipe. Somebody had already done that, so it was probably a $50, $100 job. They just replaced one section of pipe and boom, that was all they did. All I had to do was buy headers. So that saved me a lot of money. But let's get into the last thing, which is going to be the Mpp Factory Mufflers. And the reason I want to talk about these is because they're a lot better than what people know. If you decide to keep those, that will save you a lot of money in the long run. So let's talk about how and what the benefits are of the factory Mpp muffler. There's a few benefits with them. So the first benefit of the Mpp mufflers is that they have valves in them, and it's kind of a downfall to start with because it's a throttle control valve, so it goes based on the percentage of throttle you're using before it opens and closes the exhaust. Simple. So there's 2 ways you can get around this. Number one, you can pull, there's a fuse you can pull, and the valve will remain open at all times, so you're getting full flow of the exhaust. And the second way is you can buy pretty much wires the valves to a fob, kind of like cutouts are set up, exactly like they're set up, to where you can open and close the valves completely with the press of a button. So that's pretty cool to me. I'll go ahead and throw the link to that in the description for my people that would like something like that. I want to go ahead and throw a clip in of how those Mpp mufflers with headers and a full exhaust sound up until, you know, with the stock Mpp mufflers on right up here. Alright, so now that you know how that sounds, that's pretty good, in my opinion. So as you can see, you don't have to change the mufflers unless you want a different tone, but again, different tone, it's gonna come with a hefty price tag. So it's up to you, but if you're on a budget and you like how that sounds, then by all means just keep the factory Mpp mufflers. And the last thing I want to talk about on those is that they don't drone. I had a full exhaust on that car for 4 months, and there was a few times I had driven that car 45 minutes to an hour, completely bearable. That's the great thing about the stock exhaust, is it's set up very well, and performance wise, unless you want a different tone, there really isn't any benefit to switching to another muffler. You know, if you just want the loudest setup, then of course you just cut them off and put some exhaust tips on. But that's another budget option for my people that don't care about their ears at all. So that's gonna do it for this video. I'm gonna leave links down to the Speed Engineering long tube headers for my people that would like to see those, just because I had them for so long and they were great for me, so I know they'll work for y'all. So throw a link down to that. I also throw a link down to exhaust valve controls in the description as well for my people that want that. But that's gonna do it for this video. Hope this was helpful. If it was, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe for more informational videos and more car build videos, building this car behind me. That's gonna do it. So I hope this video was helpful again. As always, y'all take it easy, and I will catch y'all on the next.